Hi, everyone. I'm here with Rainin Pettit. She is one of our lead trainers or not trainer, but also nutritionist at Parkway Athletic Club in Carson City. So last time we talked about things that, three things. This time we're going to talk about three foods that you shouldn't eat. And the other one was three questions about nutrition. So this one is, I can't wait to hear what you say. If you guys are interested in our weight loss program, a link in the description or QR code, and we'll have one of our nutritionists reach out to you and give you more information about our weight loss program. If you're interested in stuff like this, subscribe to the channel. We do interviews with nutritionists, doctors, personal trainers, and so on. So thanks for being here, Rainin.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so three foods. Let's talk about three things. I mean, there's more than three, isn't there?
Yeah, that's such a loaded question.
All right, so let's talk about three foods that you shouldn't eat, but maybe something that you can replace it with.
Yeah,
So what's the first thing?
the first thing that I would suggest that nobody should be eating are trans fats, hydrogenated oils.
For sure.
And those are actually something that has been banned in cities all over the United States. And if you look on just about every food label on the nutrition facts, it will say zero trans fats. And so many packaged foods will have like a catch, like it's on the front of their packaging, like 0 grams of trans fats. But that just accounts for the serving. So the FDA has actually passed a law that something can be labeled as 0 grams of trans fats as long as it has 0.5 grams or less of trans fats per serving. So that goes into kind of our last video to really paying attention to the serving size. So you'll look and it'll say 0 grams of trans fats. That's great. But then you look down in the ingredients and it has some form of hydrogenated oil or soybean oil. Those are all trans fats. So if a package of like the Milano cookies is 0 grams of trans fats per serving, you look down in the ingredients and it has hydrogenated oil or hydrogenated soybean oil in the ingredients, that's a trans fat. But it's less than 5.5 grams per serving. But one serving is like 2 or 3 cookies. So you're getting trans fats with every serving. It's just less than 0.5 grams. But if you're eating 3 or 4 servings of what that is, that can be 2 to 3 grams of trans fats, which is poison, horrible for you. That's
I'm
my
so I'm so glad you brought that up. It's something that we haven't talked about, but it's a nasty trick. And
yeah.
if a package says zero trans fat, I won't eat it because of what you're saying. Why are you telling me zero trans fat? Because you want to make it sound better than there's 100 servings in this package.
Exactly.
Yeah, that one pisses me off. It's
Yeah.
manipulative, and trans fat are bad. And even, I completely avoid fried foods because they use it over and over and over. They're ruining that oil, and now it's a trans fat, right?
Yeah. Oxidized hydrogenated oils, like those are the fats that, you know, the kind of high cholesterol and stuff like that. That's like what's more to blame than, and people are on this no fat, all fat is bad fat. And that's not true. Having omega 3s and omega 6s in your diet are crucial. It's just the ratio that you have them. So, you want to have higher omega 3s than higher omega 6s, which is definitely not the case in the modern American diet that we do have. But having some bad fats in your diet is better than having no fat at all. Our bodies need fat, our brain needs fat. It's just the type of fat that we need to be paying attention to.
So, like for your brain, MCT oil, right?
Yeah, and my favorite type of brain food, I'll say, I take these raw frozen algae shots. and they come to your house frozen. They're shipped frozen overnight to you. And it's algae. The ratio is like a 12-to-1 of omega-3s to omega-6s. It's so great for your brain health. It's one of my favorite things. Seafood, particularly like a fatty fish, oysters are so good for your brain health. And this kind of takes us into my second one, and it's factory farmed meat. So,
Now you're okay with a quality olive oil too,
yeah, an
like
extra
a
virgin.
organic, extra virgin olive oil. You got to be careful with that too. You got to read the label, see what they're sneaking in there.
Not, yeah, don't ever look for like a light olive oil. That's kind of what I equate to looking for like a calorie-free honey. Like honey is an antioxidant. Honey has so many beneficial properties for you, and it's great for helping to balance your hormones and stuff like that. But if you're getting a light honey, that's just a sweetener flavored to taste like honey.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to it. It's a 0-calorie maple syrup or something like that. That's like taking something natural and making it totally unnatural just for, the fewer calories. But, there are powerful polyphenols and bioactives and stuff like that in honey and maple syrup that are way more beneficial than just,
So your first one is trans fat. That's obvious poison, but people don't know that. And you can't just go eat the fried chicken wings and french fries all over the place out at restaurants because they've ruined the fat and it's a trans fat now.
yeah.
So very, very harmful. So you gave us some of the good oils or fats. What is the number two, or maybe not in order, but what's a second food that we should avoid?
Before we get into that, I want to touch back to the olive oil. Olive oil is a low heat oil, and olive oil can be oxidized very easily if you're heating it over medium heat. I will really only use olive oil raw. Take it as a shot, use it as salad dressing. That's great. On low heat, drizzle it on your food after it's cooked if you want the flavor from it. But cooking in a high heat oil like ghee or like avocado oil, coconut oil even, that's what you want to be cooking with your high heat. You don't want to be oxidizing the oil, and olive oil oxidizes at low to medium heat.
That's a great point because if you ruin the olive oil, you turned it into a trans fat.
If your oil is smoking, you should not be using it.
Right.
Any smoking oil that's beyond its smoke point, it's trash. No.
Yeah.
Move on,
And
get it out of the
it's
pan, start over.
so simple, and it's something they're not watching in fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
even
what's
at home. Yeah.
number
Um,
two?
my next one is factory farmed meat, which does take us into fats a little bit as well. But historically, meat was grazing, meat was wild and it was fed a natural diet. And now we have farms that are just for corn and soybeans all over, and wheat all over the United States. And that's what our livestock is eating. And that's another reason why our omega-6s are crushing the ratio to omega-3s. And that's because our meat is supposed to be fed green. It's supposed to be fed grass. It's supposed to be higher in omega-3s. But now, if it's just eating corn, if it's just eating, grains, those are all higher in omega-6s. So you really want to look for organic grass fed. But I would venture to say that looking for grass fed is more important than looking for organic, because if you're buying organic, they could be eating organic corn that's still high in omega-6. So making sure pasture raised, grass fed, those are the two things to look at, especially with like butter and dairy, especially those like high fat dairy foods. Like butter is, I'm going to say 85% fat. It's so important that it's the good omega-3s that you're getting from it and not omega-6s.
Such a great point. Grass fed, grass finished. And it's tricky. And that goes for fish too. Farm raised fish.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what they do, it's like, I'd never eat that again.
There are documentaries on salmon farms, and stuff like that, that are like, they're gray fish that are just dyed orange. so it still looks
Yeah.
appetizing. They're cutting parasites off their bodies and stuff like that.
If you look at the way they're raised and what they're fed, you'd throw up just watching the video.
Yeah. They're being like eaten alive too, just killed just in time so there's still some meat they can fillet off of them.
So that's kind of similar. You don't want farm raised fish. You want wild caught.
Yeah. And I'm a big on fish. I think if you like fish, that could be incorporated, you know, 3+ times a week into your diet. Really great healthy fats there,
Yeah.
wide nutrient profile, and it's good to just switch it up. I
Yeah.
think it's really easy for a lot of us now to just be eating beef and chicken every single day, especially people coming to the gym. But, you know, switch it up, add some seafood, add some. I really like bison, like a wild bison is so good. And you can
Yeah.
taste the difference in the quality for sure.
You can. And so, it costs more, but prioritize your health, everyone. So, what's the number 3 food on your list in this short video of what people should avoid?
For me, that is refined sugars. So refined sugars is going to be the cane sugar, the brown sugar, syrups. I mean, obviously like corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup, and I know that's a tough one. We all love it. We all love desserts. We all love a sweet treat, but there are good alternative sweeteners that you can add. And I've actually had a lot of fun. I've been refined sugar free since about August of last year. And I feel a world of a difference in my body, my energy levels, cravings, and refined sugar is just so digesting refined sugar will actually uses the minerals that were originally the vitamins and minerals that were originally in those sugars. It will deplete those from your body to digest it. So, it's so common to have nutritional micro deficiencies now. It's really, really common. And, I just, I think it's not technically an anti-nutrient, but if it's using different nutrients that your body has stored to digest it, in my book, that's an anti-nutrient. Nobody needs an extra vitamin or mineral deficiency. We need the zinc, we need the vitamin A and E. You can use like an unrefined coconut sugar, a honey, a maple syrup. I would say agave, but minimally. Agave is still pretty high in fructose. But all of those are great to bake with, and they're actually healthy. They have health benefits for you. They're high in polyphenols and bioactives. And I would say like, losing weight and people with diabetes or blood sugar spikes and even like high cholesterol and triglycerides, those sugars to blame for all of that, refined sugar. So that's my number 3. Stay away from refined sugars.
I gotta something that I've been doing this all my life. I was lifting weights when I was 6, on a broomstick laying on the grass. I was a skinny little kid. But there's something I've noticed. When I was in grade school, which was 100 years ago, no, I'm in my 60s. But when I was in grade school in the 60s and early 70s, we could eat whatever we wanted. We ate sugar. Because I think back and I go, you know what? I ate a buttload of sugar. I ate sugar, sugar, sugar. But it had to be different because we didn't have any fat kids in our class. Wait a minute, we had one chubby kid, but he'd be the skinny kid in 3rd grade. He'd literally be the skinny kid in 3rd grade right now. And I'm like 3 times older than you. But when we were in grade school, we just ate whatever we want. I mean, out of a can, out of a package, whatever. It wasn't the same. And I think one of the biggest things that's changed is the sugar, the refined sugar.
Yeah. And I had, a favorite granola and favorite yogurts, that are like organic and, high in omega 3s and stuff like that. And when I really started looking at the labels of sugar, I'm like, why does this have 10 grams of added sugar per serving? This is supposed to be a health food. So, that goes back into reading labels and paying attention to serving size and all of that, because you just don't know how many added sugars are even in, like, the slice of bread that you're eating and stuff like that. Like, bread was a really hard one for me when I first went sugar free, and granola. And those are all things that I make at home now. I make my own bread and I make my own granola, and now they are what they should be in their health foods. But modern day at the store, like even a good multi-grain piece of bread, I would challenge you to try to find one with less than 5 grams of added sugar per slice.
Yeah. And like I said, the sugar these days is different than what I ate when I was 7. It's really different. What I ate when I was 7 or 8 or 9 was real natural sugar. And again, now it's poison.
And it's possible to find unrefined cane sugar, but the refining process is taking out all of what makes it natural. It's taking out all of the fiber, it's taking out all of the vitamins and all of the minerals, and that's to take out the flavor. So it's tasteless. All it does is make it sweet. But like you would notice with honey and with maple syrup and with coconut sugar, those all have like a distinct flavor. All of those, it's not just sweet. So that's the thing. It's like if your sugar doesn't have a taste, it's not the sugar that you should be eating.
Yeah. Well, Rainan, thanks so much for being with us. If you guys want help with this, call that phone number. We'll have one of our nutritionists reach out to you, or hit that link. And I know it can get complicated and there's a lot of moving parts with this, with the food. And it's like, it's so confusing for most people. I mean, we do this for a living, but it's not so easy for a lot of people. So Rainan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.